Paramedics called after Shen Yui found unconscious in Miles Wei's car. He claimed she was running from someone. The entire set froze the moment the ambulance lights painted the parking lot red and blue. At first, no one understood what was happening. A crew member had run inside screaming, "Something happened to Shen Yui, Miles needs help outside." People thought it was another heated confrontation, another emotional breakdown after the week's chaos involving Dylan Wong, the rooftop incident, the stalker footage, the hidden camera, the forced door, the masked intruder, but no one expected this. Not Shen Yu. Not unconscious. Not in Miles Wei's car. And definitely not with Miles shouting at paramedics like a man possessed. The moment Shen Yui was found, according to multiple eyewitnesses, it happened just minutes after the cast wrapped rehearsal for a night scene. Shen Yu was supposed to wait inside the dressing room for the next setup, but she never showed up. Miles noticed her absence first. One assistant recalled his voice. "Where is she? She was supposed to follow me out. Don't tell me she left alone." He checked the hallway. He checked the makeup room. He checked the back exit they always used to avoid crowds. Nothing. Then he literally ran to the parking lot after spotting the door slightly open. That's where he saw it. Shen Yu collapsed in the passenger seat of his car. No movement. No response. Her phone shattered on the ground outside. Miles later said in a trembling voice. Her hand was still reaching for the door, like she was trying to get inside before someone caught her. That single sentence sent a wave of fear through the entire production. Miles panicked. Somebody was chasing her. The paramedics were still checking Shen Yu when Miles grabbed one of them by the arm. He wasn't calm. He wasn't collected. He wasn't the sweet co-star everyone knew. He was shaking. She was running from someone, he said. Look at her phone, look at the door, just look. She didn't just fall. Something happened. One of the staff members said they had never seen Miles so close to breaking. His voice cracked. He kept whispering her name, like if he stopped, she'd slip away. The paramedics placed an oxygen mask over Shen Yu's face and lifted her onto the stretcher. She didn't wake up. Her lips were pale, and there was a faint bruise on her arm, a fresh one. That bruise changed everything. Miles' expression hardened. Someone had touched her. Someone had grabbed her. And someone was still out there. The terrifying footage that made everything worse. Security rushed to check the cameras immediately, hoping to find out how Shen Yu ended up outside, alone and unconscious. They expected to see her walking normally, or fainting suddenly, or maybe even tripping. But what they saw instead chilled them. Shen Yu was running, barefoot, breathing heavily, looking over her shoulder every few seconds, as if someone was behind her. But the camera angle only showed a dark figure trailing at a distance, tall, hooded, deliberately avoiding the light. This lined up with what Miles said, and with the hidden camera incident, and the break-in, and the dressing room lock malfunction. Everything suddenly started connecting. Someone had been getting closer and closer. Miles loses control when the paramedics closed the doors. When the paramedics placed Shen Yu inside the ambulance, Miles tried to get in with her. Staff attempted to stop him. He nearly shoved them aside. "I'm going with her. Don't try to stop me." The paramedic told him there was no space. Miles' voice exploded. "Make space." People who heard it described the moment as violent, heartbreaking, and desperate. Miles wasn't angry at the paramedics. He was terrified. Terrified that Shen Yu might wake up alone. Terrified that the person chasing her might try again. Terrified of losing her after everything they had already been through. When they finally let him inside the ambulance, he grabbed her hand immediately and refused to let go. Dylan Wong's reaction when the news reached Dylan Wong. He arrived at the parking lot within minutes. Out of breath, eyes filled with guilt and fear. He didn't ask what happened. He asked only one thing. Where's she now? The tension between Dylan and Miles had been extreme for weeks. Fights, shouting, physical altercations, accusations. But when Dylan saw Shen Yu unconscious, everything softened. His face fell. He whispered, "This is my fault. She looked scared earlier. I should have walked her out." But Miles wasn't having it. Before the ambulance door closed, he glared at Dylan. "If anything happens to her, I swear." Dylan cut him off. Don't blame me. Blame the person actually chasing her. For the first time in days, their anger wasn't at each other, but at whoever was stalking Shen. The hospital arrival, the ambulance rushed to the nearest emergency center, sirens splitting the night. Witnesses say Miles held her hand the entire ride, whispering, please wake up. I'm right here. I won't let anything happen to you." Doctors rushed her into the trauma room, shutting the door before Miles could follow. He punched the wall. He slid down onto the floor.
He cried.
Crew members who arrived seconds later saw him shaking uncontrollably, repeating, "She must have been so scared. Why didn't I walk her out? Why didn't she call me?" But she did try to call him. Her broken phone proved it. The screen showed she had attempted to dial his number twice before collapsing. The doctors worked for over 20 minutes. Miles didn't move from the hallway. When the doctor finally emerged, everyone held their breath. The doctor spoke calmly but firmly. "She's stable, but her system was under extreme shock. Something frightened her enough to trigger a collapse." Miles froze.
Fear. Shock.
Adrenaline overload. This wasn't a heat stroke. This wasn't exhaustion. This wasn't random. Someone chased her until her body shut down. The final scene. Miles enters the room. When Miles finally walked into Shenyu's hospital room, the air was still, the lights dim. She was lying peacefully, oxygen tube in her nose, heartbeat steady. He sat beside her, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Then he whispered the most heartbreaking sentence of the entire night. "Whoever you were running from, I'll find them, and they will never get near you again." He leaned his forehead against her hand and stayed there, silent, unmoving, guarding her, as if his presence alone could keep the danger away. The moment the paramedics' flashlight swept across Shenyu's pale face, Miles Wei felt his entire world collapse inward. Her head rested against the car window, her lips slightly parted, her breathing shallow, too shallow. Rainwater soaked her clothes, her hair clinging to her cheeks like dark threads. Miles' hands were still trembling from when he had carried her out of the passenger seat, shouting for help until his voice cracked. But none of that compared to the fear he felt now. "Miles, step back," the senior paramedic ordered. But Miles didn't move.
He couldn't.
"I said step back." "No," Miles snapped, voice breaking. "I'm not leaving her." The paramedics exchanged quick glances. They'd seen panic before. This was different. This was a man hovering on the edge of total emotional collapse. As they checked her pulse again, Miles leaned over their shoulders, torturing himself with every second of silence. "Is she breathing? Is she okay? Tell me something." "Miles, stop," one of them warned. "You're not helping." But he couldn't stop. He felt like if he blinked, she would slip away. Moments earlier, he had found her slumped over in the passenger seat after hearing her scream behind the studio. He ran toward the sound like someone possessed. And when he reached the parking lot and saw her collapse, he nearly tore the car door off its hinges trying to wake her. Now, that scream kept replaying in his mind. A scream full of terror. A scream from someone running from something or someone. One paramedic finally spoke. "She's breathing, but she's losing consciousness repeatedly. We need to transport immediately." Miles' knees buckled, and he steadied himself against the car. Transport. Hospital. Unconscious. The words all felt like knives. "Let me ride with her," he said instantly. "Only family. I am her family," he snapped before he could stop himself. Even the paramedics froze. They had no idea what had been happening on this set for the past weeks. The fights between Dylan Wong and Miles, the stalker incidents, the break-ins, the hidden camera, the rooftop scenes, Shenyu's swollen eyes, the emergency meetings. But now, seeing Miles like this, they believed him. "Get in," the senior medic said simply. Miles climbed into the ambulance before the words finished leaving his mouth. Inside the ambulance, everything hit him at once. Shenyu's fingers lay limp against the stretcher. Her breathing fluttered like fragile paper. Her face looked too still, too quiet, for someone who was always laughing on set, always teasing him, always fighting him, and forgiving him seconds later. Miles reached for her hand, hesitated, then finally took it. "Shen Yu, please," he whispered, his voice cracking. "Don't do this to me." The medic watched him, then looked away respectfully. Miles kept talking, his voice trembling uncontrollably. "You were running, weren't you? I heard you scream. I heard you call my name." His throat tightened painfully. "What happened?
Who did you see?
Who touched you? Who scared you?" No answer. Only the sound of the heart monitor ticking steadily. Miles lowered his forehead to her hand, clutching it as if it was the only thing keeping him from falling apart. "You're safe now," he whispered. "I promise you. I'm here. I'm not leaving." But safety felt like a lie, especially with the shadows still lingering from everything that had happened recently. And then the medic said something that made Miles freeze. "There's something odd about her condition." Miles had jerked up. "What do you mean odd? What's wrong with her?" The medic hesitated. "It doesn't look like stress or exhaustion. It looks like adrenaline overload. Like she was running for her life." Miles' blood turned to ice. Running for her life? From who? There was only one person he could think of. The same shadowy presence that had been stalking her. The same person who had broken into her apartment. The same figure seen on security footage outside her door. The same person who paid a makeup artist to isolate her. But hearing a medic confirm it, hearing that her body reacted as if it had been pushed to the limit, that broke him. He clenched her hand tighter. "Whoever is doing this," he whispered, voice shaking with rage, "I will find them. I swear to God, I will find them." The ambulance screeched to a halt. They were at the hospital. As they wheeled her out, Miles followed like a ghost, unable to look anywhere but at her. And then, right as they were about to disappear behind the emergency room doors, Shen Yu's fingers twitched. Just once. Barely noticeable. But Miles saw it. "Shen Yu? Shen Yu," he shouted, rushing to her side. Her eyelids fluttered weakly. "Miles," she whispered so faintly the medic almost missed it. Miles' heart stopped. "Yes, yes, I'm here." He grabbed her hand again, tears forming. "I'm here. Tell me what happened. Tell me who you saw." Her eyes opened halfway. "I ran," she breathed. "From who?" Miles pleaded. "Tell me. Please." Shen Yu swallowed painfully, trying to speak. Her lips trembled. And then, her heart monitor spiked. She gasped. Her body jerked. The medics shoved Miles away as her consciousness slipped again. "Get her inside.
Now."
Miles watched helplessly as the doors slammed shut in his face. His hands shook. His breath shattered. His world spun. But one thing was clear. Shen Yu hadn't fainted because she was tired. She fainted because someone was chasing her. Someone who was close. Someone she recognized. Someone dangerous. And Miles Wei was done staying silent. He